do you want to introduce yourself and just tell me where you are and how long you've been training?
Yeah, I'm Lawrence Kemper, GP partner in West Oxfordshire in Ensham. Yeah, we're a big training practice. We've got several trainers there. How long have I been a trainer? That's just put me on the spot. I think about 5 years. I'm thinking of the number of ST3s I've had through. So around about that. And yeah, we train. We're big on teaching. We have students there as well, a lot from a variety of medical schools. And training is through 2 separate VTS programs.
Thank you. And how did you get involved with Clinitalk?
I'm on a WhatsApp group that's interested in AI. I think that's where I spotted Clinitalk. I'm trying to recall how that happened. And then maybe they wrote out, I'm trying to recall how that happened, but a little bit like that. So essentially I opted in for a trial of the system. And then had access to it with my ST3 trainee at the time, and got to use it with her, and it's been really, really interesting.
So what have you found interesting about it?
I think I was impressed by the depth, the detail, and the accuracy of its assessments. So that's the first sort of, I wonder what it's like kind of feeling that you put out first. And as a trainer oneself, you might see it as a first instant threat. It's like, right, is this here to replace me kind of thing? So it was curiosity at first, and being very impressed with how well it worked. The level of detail and what it was able to sort of perceive from a transcript alone, because it's not unable to pick non-verbal things. So I was very impressed by what it was able to pick up. And then in terms of the actual use with my trainee at the time, I think one thing I really thought was unique to using it, which as a trainer I wouldn't be able to do, is to look at trends. Because you can have the system running in the background for all the consultations for a week or whatever, and it'll then give you a trend of saying, well, you have a tendency to do, run late. Perhaps that's a bad example because that's very obvious, but sort of miscues or not showing a lot of kindness verbally, at least. And so it was very good at doing that, because that's not something I'm able to do. I can sort of analyze a case, a video, sit in for a supervised clinic, but I'm not able to sit there all the time and see what the trends are. So I think that's where it's unique in its ability. Then we had some play around. There's this function about Ask AI, which I didn't really know what that was. But she said, I had a difficult consultation where she felt a bit disappointed with the outcome, and she thought the patient felt disappointed with the outcome. It was a sort of a request for something that's not available on the NHS. And so we then went back to that case. Again, very easy. You sort of just scroll through as like, it was about this on that date, and in you go, and you have the whole consultation there. And it can run through its RAG rating of various aspects of the consultation, how well that went. But then we jumped to the AI to ask specifically about, do you think the patient was disappointed in the outcome? And it had a different impression to what the trainee had, but it was nice because it backed up that with, quoting the patient again. Well, she said this, and that's likely, that it was all right. But then we said, well, could we have done it a bit better, or could we have done it in a way that the trainee or the patient might have been feeling less disappointed with the outcome? So that felt like quite advanced kind of questioning of a system. And it was really impressive. The reply it gave was very practical, with sort of, making clear that this isn't your decision, that you're not wanting to help the patient. That's above you. Sort of detach yourself from that decision in a way. it says, why didn't you show the patient written down where it says that that's not available on the NHS? And it gave other practical help, which was really impressive. So I thought that was really quick, really good. I mean, as a trainer, I'd like to think I could come up with something similar, but to do that in a case I didn't see very quickly, suddenly going back on it, I certainly wouldn't be able to quote a patient back because I wasn't present. So it's really good for a sort of retrospective analysis, certainly where you weren't part of it, and the patient had an experience that they perhaps wanted to feed back on, because you often get that from trainees saying, I had a really difficult conversation here, consultation, but you weren't part of it, so you just go with what the trainee tells you. Whereas this is a quite nice objective review of that consultation, and then you can dig deeper into it. So that was really, really impressive.
So you said that you wondered this was going to replace you. So do you think it's going to replace you?
I don't think it's going to replace me, no. In terms of consultation, analysing a consultation, it definitely overlaps a lot with what I would be doing when I do that. But there's a lot of other things that trainers offer their trainees. So I don't really see that as a threat. I see it more as an adjunct, and I think it would be really helpful for trainees to have that, particularly the sort of trending. I think that's a unique feature that I never had that. I would have loved that. I'd love it now. If someone could tell me, look, you keep doing this or you keep saying that, to improve my consultation skills in that sense. So I think it's a really good adjunct. I think it's going to support trainees and make better consultants, really. And it allows then perhaps the trainers to focus on some other aspects that trainees need support with.
And one of the things I found with using it is that the trainees sometimes get lots of feedback. And I guess what I think I can add, I don't know if you think, is how to manage that feedback and what to do first. Because sometimes at the start it can be a bit overwhelming. So I guess, I don't know, I think that's sometimes where the trainers, it is helping them to decide what to do with the feedback. I don't know that.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And picking out which feedback to run with, because it gives you, a book's worth of feedback. So you need to pick what you want to go with.
Pick what you want to go with. Okay, cool. Just sort of a practical implementation. Did your trainee have any problems consenting patients or patients understanding what they were doing?
I don't think so. No one ever said no. And it prompts you to do that before you even go ahead. So I don't think there was any concern around that. I mean, ultimately, it's different to some of the other AI tools. It doesn't have anything to do with the medical record. It isn't there to give you any clinical advice. So it's just listening in, and so I think there's even less concern around that. There's no sort of decision prompting or anything like that. How
do you think AI might change the future of general practice training? Big question.
Of training.
Yeah.
Could change a lot. Like I said earlier, I think it could be very helpful for struggling trainees, find weak spots, find areas to work on in a way that current training can't necessarily do, with, constant availability for support in that sense. I think that's really interesting. I think the college seems to be very lenient or open to AI being used, which was, to some extent surprising, in how happy they were in using it in reflection. And I think for trainers it might become a bit more tricky to see what was a trainee's true reflection as opposed to an AI reflection that was,